So if you're not an F1 fan, you're missing out. Last weekend, starting with even qualifying was incredible to watch in Silverstone. Just already a great atmosphere to be there. And then qualifying gets off to a crazy start. They get into it. Carlos ends up on the pole with his last lap.
Carlos Sainz driving for Ferrari.
That is true. He ends up on the pole with Max behind him. And then you start us off with the race on Sunday.
Well, look, you missed the most important point of qualifying.
Oh, no.
Goat Tiffy made it into Q3. The greatest driver of our generation. The greatest Canadian driver.
I was happy to see a Canadian in the top 10 because we got slim pickings of Canadian.
We got Lance Stroll,
who has a hard time breaking out of the
20th. Hard time getting out of bed in the morning, that guy probably. Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, that is true. Latifi was in the top 10.
Yeah.
So that was fun to see.
And it was probably, well, definitely the best race I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Like, probably those last, 5-6 laps are probably the best laps, I'll see in, years.
Could be a couple years.
That was nuts. I think there was 6 cars fighting for the podium.
Yep.
And Alonso, I don't want to get too deep into it quick, but Alonso in 5th or whatever, right back there was you could see his mouth watering, waiting for 2 cars to crash so we could go up into the podium. Oh my God. And then Lando right behind him. And then the 2 Ferraris, the 2 Red Bulls. Not the
Red Bull. Max, which,
not the Red Bull.
It's weird too because I was talking to some other people that I know and they've been F1 fans for years. And they said kind of that some of the best racing that they've seen, and they've been fans for a long time, is when your Hamilton, your Verstappens are out. You get a chance to see other people kind of race for that, and it's a much closer race. And, before F1 the last couple of years, if we go back longer than that, the leader would be up 30 seconds sometimes. They'd be up crazy times, so then that's not very interesting. But Max hits some debris, goes under his car.
I think it was a piece of Yuki's car.
It was, yeah.
He said, I tried to go left, I was going to go right, but I decided to hit it head on. And usually it just explodes, but it got stuck in the floor of the car.
Yep. And it's crazy to see him. He slipped so fast. He was in 2nd, I think it was 3rd, and he ended up slipping all the way down to 8th.
I think he finished in 6th. No. What am I thinking?
I think it was
7th or 8th?
It was maybe 8th. It was somewhere in there. I don't
so
remember.
Low, I don't care.
Yeah, it didn't matter. But again, even with Max finishing low, you still had kind of Checo keeping up.
Insane.
Still had him keeping up, which is nice to see because you have a 1 and 2 driver, and Checo is making an argument for why he should be taking points instead of Verstappen.
Checo is number 2 in the Drivers' Championship.
Think about that.
And yeah, that's very impressive.
Yep.
And he drove a ridiculous race. The fact that he came out of nowhere and ended up back on the podium after that terrible situation at the start is insane.
Yep.
I will say, I just want to say real quick, Carlos with the win.
We're happy for him.
I'm not a Ferrari fan. That's not my team. I'm a Mercedes. Not Mercedes. I'm a McLaren. I'm reading Mercedes on my screen. I'm a McLaren fan, but back in the days when Carlos was on McLaren, he's still my favorite driver in the paddock. What a beauty. He deserved it. And he did not listen to Ferrari at all. He didn't listen to team direction whatsoever. He didn't care.
As a Ferrari fan, I jumped on the bandwagon. Season 3, Drive to Survive. Not going to lie. Got into F1 that way. Jumped on the Ferrari bandwagon in Season 3. And, we high hopes for Ferrari this year. Especially they come out with the car. We know the story. We know what's going on. Charles looking fantastic. Carlo looking fantastic. And Ferrari's strategy somehow has managed to get them in the most trouble than any other team. Their strategy is so bad. And I don't understand how you can sit there, and that's your job, and you sit there and you make that bad of decisions. You had plenty of time to pit both drivers at the end of the race. And for those that might not have seen it, safety car, I think with like 7 laps left, comes out. Everybody's on old tires. Charles Leclerc is on old hard tires.
The hardest tires you've ever seen.
The oldest out of the entire field. And he's sitting up there in first at that time. Drives right past pit lane. Drives right past him. I'm sitting there. I'm on the couch.
Yeah.
I'm all hyped up. Oh, this is going to be... We got like a 10-second gap between them, something like that. Easy double stop. You might lose a little time. Who cares? You're going to be on fresh tires. The boys will make it up. No, there he goes. Just right by it. All right.
They asked Carlos to create 10 car lengths of space between second and first to give Charles a big lead.
Mm-hmm. After the pit. After he didn't take the pit stop on the restart.
And I think Carlos misheard. And you know what I think he heard? Vamos! And he took off.
That's true.
Awesome.
He goes on the radar and he goes, don't ask me to do this.
Do that. Oh my God.
And you know, you can't blame him because when he's on fresh softs, you're going to be faster. So you don't want to sit there and then you're going to be the sitting duck for the next sitting duck anyway, because if he gets past by trying to create that space, Shell has no chance of holding on anyway, right? So at that point, like you said, selfishness in sports plays a role. Sure.
Take that win.
But you got to wonder what the heck is going through Ferrari's head when they're making that decision. And then after the race, so Shell ends up slipping all the way to fourth.
Fourth, yeah.
Only gaining 6 points
on Verstappen.
And it was it could be, we don't know, could be Verstappen's worst race of the year.
Where he finishes, yeah.
That could be his worst race of the year. And you get 6 points on him in the championship?
Not
6
enough.
points?
That's not enough.
6 points? You have how many DNFs this year as a Ferrari driver? How many? Like 4?
Too many.
I think Charles has like 2 or 3. Carlo has 1 or 2, I think. You can't be doing that. You got to capitalize on that opportunity. And then after the race, the team principal just giving it to Leclerc.
Wagging that finger right in his face. I think he was telling him, like, I read it, but I don't remember. I think he told him, like, I know these times have been tough, but you got to, like, look forward. You can't be too down on yourself. Be excited for Carlos. But it's also, like, man, like you said, 6 points up on Verstappen. Like, that's not gonna do it. Like, that's not gonna do it.
No. And
for winning the Drivers' Championship.
You have a serious chance at winning this championship this year. And it's not gone yet. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, your season's over. There's still tons of racing left in the year, and lots could happen. Like we see, you run over a piece of debris, and your race kind of gets put out the window. But that could happen to Ferrari. And then what? And that happens a couple times, and then what? You can't just keep letting every time something negative happens to your competitor, Red Bull, in this situation. Every time something negative happens to them, you shoot yourself in the foot. You give yourself something to worry about. And then it's just so frustrating, especially for me, being a Ferrari fan now. I'm like, I just want to see you do well. And Shell's getting angry.
The last time Charles got more points than Carlos was Miami.
Yeah, that was a while ago, too.
That
is a while ago.
Insane.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Prove me wrong. Like, I think that's right.
I actually do think you're correct.
But
how many of that is...
most of them with team strategy,
yeah,
that's what you're going to say?
That's the thing. It's like, how many of that is just driving? None of it. It's all, this and that and this and that. And it's just, come on, man.
So, yeah, and the last thing I'll say on the race is I really, truly believe that Mercedes is back. And
thanks to the FIA.
To the FIA, thank you.
Thanks for stepping in and making a rule that helps us again. Thank you very much. Toto's sitting there going, thank you. Here's some cash. Here's some cash.
I genuinely think that Mercedes... Do you think... Like, this is my question. Do you think that Mercedes is going to win a race this year?
No.
No?
Let me rephrase. If both Ferraris and both Red Bulls have, I'm going to say, bad races, if something like that happened this week with Max, where they all get debris or they bump tires.
Baku double DNF.
Exactly. If something like that happens, and even then, Russell would probably have the better car. Like, so far this year, he has proven that Yes, Lewis had set some fastest laps. Absolutely, Russell showed up. But it was his home race. He showed up. Got to give credit where credit's due. But Russell also didn't finish, and it was his first DNF. And every other race he's finished, he's been in the top 5. So if both Ferraris and both Red Bulls are out, there's nothing that says Russell will lose to Hamilton.
I'd make a bet with you right now that 100% Mercedes' first win of the season will be Lewis Hamilton.
When?
I don't know when, but Lewis Hamilton will win Mercedes' first race this year.
This is his longest active I shouldn't say losing streak, but without a win streak.
Yep.
In his career. In I think it was 15 years, something like that. He's
know.
never gone more than 11 or 10 races without a victory or a podium.
Would you make that bet, though?
Would I make that bet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely would make that bet because Russell is faster. He's been faster. This isn't a secret that he's not faster. He's proven over and over and over again this whole season why they brought him to Mercedes, to be the future, to be the next number 1. And if you look at the points right now, he's got more points than Lewis. So I can't see Mercedes, if both those drivers are up there, I can't really see them going, hey, Russell, drop back. We'll let Lewis take this one. Because guess what? Lewis has 8 championships. 7 championships.
Give him an extra. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Why not? I'm still thinking of last year.
Yeah.
And then just let Russell go. He's the future. He's got a fast car. And he had a fast car before the FIA made the rule, before they added the extra support to the floor, before they added all this. Let him go.
I think that's a crazy take.
That Russell's better than Lewis right now? I don't think that's a crazy take.
Well, it's not that he's better. It's just... we'll move on after this, but because I think that's enough for sports.
Yeah.
We've been going on forever. But they've been doing the tests on Lewis's car. You know what I mean? Lewis has had the test car where they're doing the changes. They've kept Russell's car the same. From what I've gathered, they've kept Russell's car I call him Russell. George. They've kept his car the same most of the time. What a friggin' nerd that guy is.
You got to say with the accent.
George.
There you go.
George Russell,
that
mate.
sounds much better.
I'm a driver for Mercedes. Anyways, let's move on.
Why not?
He's a cool guy, but he's a freaking nerd, man.
I'm anxious to see how that plays out.